today I'm planning to look at the steering. I have been driving the car for a bit now, and I have this play in the steering wheel. So without the tires moving, this is how much play it is without anything happening. It's no power steering in the car. It's old. I haven't done a lot of research on this. I talked to a friend, got some tips on what it can be. Or there is only a few things it can be. Steering column, and there is two bearings in there, one at the top and one at the bottom. They go bad after, I don't know, 40 years maybe. I don't know if they have been changed. Maybe they have. There can also be this thing where steering column goes into this angle, and this other piece which goes then into my duct tape and out the bulkhead and to the front, to the steering rack. Could be the joint between there, or it could be the steering rack itself, that inside there is play. I think there is two things there. I think the steering wheel, the column in the steering wheel is not mounted as it should. I think the steering column, like the thing inside here which goes through the tube, should be more towards the driver, just a bit, few centimeters, according to this YouTube video. Because now I never been able to mount the thing with the turn signal and the wiper, because there is just not enough room. So that's a issue, but it's also like I don't need it because I don't use it. This turn signal thing and all the rest of it. But what it makes this play, I don't know yet. So I need to check a bit. I can see that the column, the arm which goes from the inside of the car through the bulkhead and out, that's kind of moving just a bit back and forward when I'm trying to turn it like this. It's also moving a bit to the side. Yeah, I will try a few things. I have now done a bit of trying to find where this slack is, that word. So I started to just watch inside, moving the steering wheel back and forward to try to feel if I can feel anything in the bearings inside the steering column. Nothing like visual wrong there, even though I did not remove anything. Then I have now removed the top, this thing between the strut towers to get a bit better access to the column, which is there in red. So you can see the nut there, and that's the one which goes from the steering column inside and goes down to the steering rack. And that nut is the thing which connects the two. When I move the steering wheel, this is turning in one or the other directions, and it's supposed to steer the steering rack. I put my phone here and went inside the car, and I did the wiggling back and forward. And from the video on my phone, you can see here that the steering rack itself is moving a bit back and forward when I'm a bit aggressive. But it's not as much as in the steering wheel, right? But then I started to pay attention to this yellow marking, and it seems like this yellow marking is staying in the same position when I'm moving the steering wheel. So that tells me that the bolt going through, because there is how can I explain it? I hopefully I find a picture you can see here. So there is a bolt, there is a groove in the ping which comes from the steering rack. There is a groove in there which goes horizontal through it, and the bolt is supposed to lock everything in place. And I know the bolt should be correct because I bought everything from Volkswagen new. Maybe it's, you know, material from the thing from the steering rack is too much is gone, so you need to move the steering wheel too much in order to move the wheel, right? me show you something. Check this out. Don't think it's supposed to be like that. Maybe in the, I don't know, pre-war time, but not now. So here is the bolt. It has, on one side, it has a bit of a flat spot. In general, it looks good. It's actually not on one side. It goes kind of, it starts on the left side and it kind of goes over and to the right side of the bolt. Interesting. I have managed to remove everything, and the threads on this thing, which comes from the steering rack, they look fine, and the threads inside the arm, which comes from the column, they also seem to look fine. I'm gonna just study them a bit more. There is two reasons, maybe more. I can maybe come up with a few more why I cut this away. One reason is that I have been thinking about this for a long time, to actually cut off all of this. From about here, where I cut it, and then till about here. I don't know why I'm keeping the hair in that part. I guess it's since I don't have a good reason in my head to cut it away. So then it can stay for till I find a reason. Because it's pretty common, I guess, to cut it away when you're building cars with a lot of power, because you would need larger turbo and you don't really need probably the heater and such. So I have the stock Audi S3 turbo and eBay manifold. So the turbo is in the stock location, which is, you know, down from the, it's like bottom mount turbo. If you want larger turbo, you usually go with manifold, which kind of points straight out, like the flange is pointing straight out. That's like T25, T3 maybe you can find. And if you want something tubular, then it's usually top mount. Like this one. This is just because I got it quite cheap, I would say. It's used and it was for sale. So, and it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna even tell the price. It's too good to pass. I never planned to buy something like this at this stage, but it just, the price, I always wanted that type of, that type of manifold. So that's why I bought this one. And with this one, if you know your 180 turbos, you can see that this is actually made for longitudinal engine, engine which is pointing in the right direction, not transversal like this one. But since I have a project car, I'm gonna make it work. And to make it work, I am pretty sure I need to cut this away anyway. Like especially the part here needed to go. Also now with this bolt for the steering column rod, it's also a bit difficult to get to without cutting this away. So now it's so much room for activities. So we are now on another day, and I have been cutting away a bit more of water box, this thing. I have also got a bit of help. Eric, he was like moving the steering wheel back and forward, and while I was watching the steering rack and the steering arm, I saw it when he moved it. It looks like the arm from the steering column is not grabbing onto the piece which comes from the steering rack. so the teeth probably not as good as they should be. The thing which sticks up from the steering rack, the steering column and the steering rack connect, that also was, when he was moving a bit more on the steering wheel, this thing was kind of jumping a bit up before it started to turn the tires. So I have decided that I'm going to buy this arm new, which from the steering column, and also buy the steering rack. From all I know, the steering rack on this car is from 1983, and I found a shop in Norway which actually sells these, so that's not usual. Since Norway, the population in Norway is quite small, and we are quite large country compared to the population. Usually, I don't know if usually we don't have that many shops which sell parts like these. Usually we have to buy from either Volkswagen itself or from some store from another country when it comes to parts like these. Yeah, I'm gonna order at least these two things. I think it looks like it's possible to take out the steering rack, at least now when I have more room. Till next time, have a good one.